At the end of Book 9, we left Adam and Eve still in paradise, but already beginning to feel the effects of their decision to eat the forbidden fruit. Paradise Lost is an epic poem, and as the author C.S. Lewis has commented, continuity is an essential of this style. The action must continue smoothly, irresistibly, upborne with indefatigable wings. Between one book and the next, he said, we must not wholly wake from our enchantment. And so it is that between the end of Book 9 and Book 10, the action moves seamlessly to heaven, where we learn that God has been watching as the events unfolded in Eden. This of course begs the question, why didn't God step in if he could see what was happening? The answer, as we learn in Book 9, is to do with the concept of obedience. In the poem, God hindered not Satan to tempt the minds of man. Because Adam and Eve knew they were prohibited from eating the fruit, they should have been able to resist temptation no matter who was tempting them. This disobedience had to be punished, and the Son of God is sent to mete this out. The first to learn his fate was a serpent, who was now to be considered accursed above all other creatures and would spend the rest of time grovelling on his belly. Satan returned to Pandemonium, the name Milton coined for the capital of hell, oblivious. He expected to be lauded by the demons, but they could only hiss as they'd been turned into serpents, and what's more, every time they took a bite to eat, the food turned to ash in their mouths. Adam and Eve had already had a foretaste of their punishment when, as we saw at the end of Book 9, they'd begun to bicker. Adam now learned that God intended to introduce formal enmity between thee and thy woman, and between future generations. Eve's punishment is perhaps one of the more famous aspects of this. She learned that she would now bring forth in sorrow, or experience the pain of childbirth. She also learned that she would suffer having her husband rule over her. Never again would Eve be allowed to lead Adam into temptation. And what about Adam? Well, since his transgression was to be led to eat the forbidden fruit, he would now have to work much harder for his food. Bread would need to be earned by the sweat of his brow. Weeds and thorns would make cultivation much more difficult. God had already said that to eat the fruit was to equal death, but of course Adam had no concept of what death meant. Now it was spelt out. For out of the ground wast thou taken, and to dust thou shalt return. In their actions in transgressing, Adam and Eve had paved the way for sin and death to enter Eden. The poem ends with the first couple lying prostrate on the ground, their tears watering the earth. It might seem like a hopeless moment, paradise is truly lost. But in fact what the poem is doing here is showing that redemption is still possible. That the first couple have learnt from their transgression, and that through both the intercession of the Son and through praying, it's still possible for humankind to earn God's forgiveness.